Hi everybody, this is Gary Dean with Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. So it was another bear slaughtering today. Luckily, we picked up on it pretty early. When the CPI numbers came out, spiked up the futures, and really we got this little pullback, and it was pretty early on. We gapped up, came down, and once we found this support and started going up, we just actually we didn't even hedge it in the room. Even in the fund on it, we took a long position on the SPY. I did the same thing I always do. Got out a little bit too early on it, but we still had a pretty decent day in the market. We did 2,600. But as I said, the if you held on to those, I mean, we're talking. We had the 622. What do we have here? That's the S&P. What am I talking about? Hang on one second. So we had a couple trades on. The first one was we had when it came down, we had the 223 calls. So I mean that alone is $3,000 if you just held it. But we also were taking IWM, and this was the winner. You have the S&P that closed up 1.13%. But look what the small caps did. This is just an absolute bear slaughtering right here. And I know a lot of hedge funds were trying to pile it down, and they've done a pretty good job because it's been choppy, but they all got forced out today. And this was up almost 3%. And again, it just goes back to even the S&P is making new all-time highs. But it's not, the small caps are the one that's really outperforming everything. So we did really good in the small caps. It was just an overall really, really easy day. Especially with IWM, we didn't really have to look at that trade and then locked in gains. And, again, for the fund, I could have had a lot more, but each time it's going up, I usually hedge it with different numbers. Like I said, I could have just held the first one I had, which was the 222 calls. So that would have been, 4,000. There was a lot, but just the way I run things. So when I had the 222, when it got to 224, I closed those, bought the 223 puts and the 224, and I just keep doing it where I'm sacrificing one just in case we get that big drop. I always want to be hedged on it. So it was, a day that if you, again, didn't listen to me in the room, you could have made $6,000-$7,000 today and not really had to sweat anything out. So anyway, what's today mean? Well, I mean, honestly, what it is, remember I was showing you the wave count where this could have been possibly a wave 5, but really the way that would have had to happen was we were going to have to take out the 6,200 level, but really more important would have been coming down and taking out the 6,150. And that didn't happen. You can see every time we came down, buyers stepped in. So this is the best wave count right now. We're in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're making a 5. Where can 5 go to? Well, I have some labels here, and these are really just, say, pattern targets, meaning that the first one is an A, B, I'm sorry, what did I do? I went, A, B, C. That brings us right up to here, to 64.60. The next one I had to do, because everything else, we already passed it, so that wasn't the case, was I went in A, B, C, and that brings us all the way up to 64.88. And then if we're going to do just adding on like a 1.23, 1.32, that brings us up. That brings us right into the 64.88 as well as the 6,500. So if if they decide that they're going to really try to push every bear out and they gap it above the 64.61, we might pull back. But this would probably be my upside target right here, anywhere from the 64.88 up to the 6,500. And then we'll probably take a break. And like I said, I've been cautious on the S&P, and I just thought there's been more meat on the bone with IWM, and that's held true. It really, I mean, one of my dilemma right now is, what do I do with the quantum stocks? It's not really that much of a dilemma because we made so much on it already, but you don't want to let them keep going if it's not. But so right now, I'm open-minded that they can extend this right now. I do believe we're going to get along the way, we're going to get these type drops every once in a while. But until we start seeing this 6,200 taken out, it's, that's it. The bulls are going to continue to march higher and push this ball lower and lower. And like I said, eventually it's going to pop, or it's going to pop out of the pool. But right now, it doesn't really seem. I think we just take it on a day-to-day basis. In the report today, I gave you some stocks that are in the rumor mill to be heading for some type of short squeeze. And the last ones I gave you was it was I'm trying to think of the names of those. It was a Target, I think, was one of them, or no, it was I don't know what it was, but one of them was the RGTI, which went from $10 to $17 in one day. The other one did the same type. I know it was a retail store. For some reason, I just can't think of the name of it, but they had a squeeze, and so when these things pop up in the rumor mill that this is what the next meme stocks that they're trying to short squeeze, I just put them out. I tell everybody to take them at a very, very cautious. Don't go crazy. Buy a couple hundred shares. If you lose a couple $100, because they're pretty low priced on it. But the one that I have, I actually do kind of like, and that was that. If you read it in the report, it's in there. But that stock that's in there has. I don't want to really give it out because this goes out to free people too, and I don't want that to be, the case for the people that are paying. But in any case, 80% of the float is owned by insiders. 20% of the outstanding float is short. So if it ends up, and it's a pretty decent company, they're not in debt, they're not anything like that. But the thing is, if there is any kind of short squeeze, you can see that thing go from $6 to $20 to $30 because it's going to be virtually impossible for these shorts to get out besides outbidding themselves on it to get out of it. So that's one that I kind of think is kind of prime on the short squeeze rumor mill. If you don't know it, go into the report I put out today. Take a look at it. Like I said, do your research on it. I didn't buy a whole lot of it. It's not something I do, but I wanted to have some. I threw some in. If I lose, I'm not losing that much on it, so it's no big deal. And I actually took it a different way. I'd use the options going out into September, so it's even less. So if it makes that run to, let's say we do get to short squeeze, if it happens. The $600 trade that I put out could be worth $20,000. That's the way I look at it. But if you just wanted to buy the stock and you bought 100 shares or 200 shares, you're risking $1,200. But it's a pretty solid company financially. I don't know what is what's going on, but I know it came from a SPAC, so that was really one of the big reasons why it dropped from the 20 down to where it was. I think 6 or 7, but. It's prime in there, so keep a lookout on it. So let's take a look. If things open up tomorrow, these are your resistance area. We have sell signals still in place, but they've been ignored. We do when they aren't ignored, we get these types of moves. So we don't want to become complacent at all. We just want to sit there and say, okay, right now the momentum's on the upside. So. The Bears, obviously, 64.27 is going to be the first hurdle they need to get through. If the Bulls head higher, keep an eye on the 64.61. Above that, then and keep an eye on the 64.88, 6,500 level. So going back, looking at some fib numbers, you can see we have the 64.26, and then we have this moving average at the 64.13. But just a little retracement down to the 6,400, or possibly even what would make more sense is coming down to the 63.57. So if that's the pullback, it may be a quick 100-point drop, and then if it keeps going, then we can look at other levels. But right now, everything's been getting bid back up, so you just assume it's going to until it's not. Like I said, I'm cautious on the S&P. I think if they do open up tomorrow, I think you're going to see. I would not be surprised to see the IWM up another 2%. There's a lot of people that are short the small caps right now, and last time we saw something like that, we saw it move up like $13 in 3 days, and it was an incredible move. And as I said, if this market's going to continue higher, the small caps are going to play catch up. And I've been hearing other people say on the talking heads on the news that the small caps are discounted right now, so people aren't going to be jumping in for things that are expensive right now. They're going to look for your cheaper ones, and I do believe small caps will lead the way. So let's see what plays out tomorrow. Have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to you guys in the morning.